You're in your house watching a YouTube video when a blinding flash of light fills your window. You blink, but don't rush to the window to see what it is. You have a bad feeling that it might be an explosion. You remember reading somewhere that the light from an explosion travels at the speed of light, while the sound wave travels much slower. This means that if there is an explosion, as you fear, the shock wave will soon reach you and shatter your windows. You won't have much time to react. You quickly move away from the window, find a solid wall to take cover behind, lie face down on the floor and cover your eyes and ears. A second later, you hear a deafening roar and feel the air pressure change. The windows shatter, sending shards of glass flying everywhere. Objects in your room are tossed around like toys. The walls shake and crack, but they don't collapse. You're still alive, but not yet safe. A few miles from you, in the center of the city, a huge bomb of 10 megatons has gone off. That's the equivalent of 667 atomic bombs, like those dropped on Hiroshima, all at once. Your survival depends on what you do in the next few seconds and minutes. Do you know what to do? After the explosion, panic and fear will rapidly spread across the city. You may hear people crying, moaning, and screaming outside. Perhaps millions of people, animals, and other living things in your city have already been vaporized. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands of buildings have been destroyed. Many more people have sustained injuries, and more buildings have incurred damage. However, you do not have the luxury to contemplate any of this. We need to defer your mourning for another time, as your ability to breathe means you've survived the impact of heat, light, pressure, and flames released by a nuclear bomb. However, there are two more factors we must address: radiation and fallout. You only have a short amount of time to prepare for nuclear fallout. If you are fortunate and the wind isn't blowing in your direction, you may have a few minutes. Look outside and you will see a colossal mushroom cloud ascending quickly into the sky. The cloud forms because the explosion emits very hot temperatures that rapidly heat the surrounding air. As this air rises, it creates a vacuum, which then gets filled with cooler air from around it. The recently filled air also heats up and rises, perpetuating the cycle and creating a significant upward airflow. The recently filled air also heats up and rises, perpetuating the cycle and creating a significant upward airflow. This scatters the flames it creates along with dust and ashes from the ground into the atmosphere. Meanwhile, the gases cool down quickly when they meet colder upper atmospheric layers and scatter in all directions, bending downwards like they hit a barrier. This process shapes the head of the upward mushroom. The top of the mushroom gets rounder as it explodes and is sucked into the vacuum column. It's a strange and fascinating sight, but don't be distracted by it. Later on, we'll learn that when animals are frightened, they don't just run away or fight back, they also freeze. It's hard to fight this instinct, but you must try not to freeze. This cloud of smoke will rise up to 30 kilometers in the next few seconds, expanding out to 77 kilometers wide and 10 kilometers thick. The amount and direction of radiation emitted will depend on the altitude at which the bomb is detonated, the weather conditions at the time, and the quantity and quality of fuel used in the bomb. If the building we're in hasn't collapsed, you're likely far enough from the explosion site that the radioactive particles scattered at the time of detonation didn't reach you, or if they did, you received a dose well below 100 rem. The good news is you'll probably survive. The bad news is you should look out for symptoms. In the next few minutes, you may feel sick, sore, unsteady, hot, tired, and losing hair. These are all signs of sudden radiation sickness. Based on how bad it is, your odds of survival will be decided, but the hazard of dying is still probable. However, there's not much you can do at the moment. If you have prepared for an explosion and have potassium iodide tablets in your emergency kit, start taking them as directed. The tablets attach to cells in the healthy thyroid gland, so radioactive iodine from a nuclear explosion can't attach to these cells, which can reduce the danger of radiation poisoning. But these tablets can't fully safeguard you against all radiation effects. In particular, you should drink lots of water. If the water supply is functioning, it might be helpful to remain near a water source in your abode. Regrettably, depending on how far you are from the blast point, you might have been exposed to a substantial amount of radiation, which might escalate your cancer risk by hundreds of times. This could also raise the likelihood of your offspring having health issues at birth. However, don't concern yourself with those issues currently. They're only relevant during emergency situations. Your priority should be to concentrate on safety and survival tactics. If you're inside, initiate isolation at once. Do not attempt to go go outdoors. Staying indoors provides around 50% defense against the repercussions of a nuclear blast. Try to move to your neighbors' homes on the middle floors, as the ground floors and attics are the most hazardous places. Radioactive particles dispersed in the air by the blast will mainly collect there. Wherever you are, try to use any available materials to cover your house. For instance, if your desk is wooden, you can break it down and use the boards to cover broken windows. Cover these boards with quilts to keep out the cold. Block ventilation openings, doors, and fireplaces to retain heat. However, don't forget the risk of fire. The explosions, pressure wave, and fireball might have subjected numerous structures and substances to high temperatures. Hence, keeping a fire extinguisher within close proximity can be beneficial. You won't be able to leave for at least the next 24, maybe even 48 hours. Therefore, it's crucial to buy and store enough food and drink in a safe place. These supplies will last you for the next day or two. Please do not attempt to go outside. The deadliest effects of radiation don't last for years. Up to half of the radioactive fallout loses its impact and decays within an hour of an explosion. It's important to wait for at least 24 hours, since the majority of the fallout's effects wear off during the first day. Nonetheless, if you have enough food and water reserves and no assistance has arrived yet, it's worth staying put for at least 2 weeks. This is when radiation is diminished by up to 99%. Radiation doesn't act immediately like a bullet, but it does build up over time, and this accumulation of processes is what matters. It's essential to be in a secure area and monitor radiation levels. Keep in mind that nuclear warfare is intricate, and the chances of just one atomic bomb being deployed are slim. So don't overlook the potential aftermath of other bombs. If you were outdoors during the explosion and came out alive, observing the sky's moment of detonation, to forecast future outcomes could lead to temporary sight loss. This is because a stronger sun will be visible in the sky. If the burst occurs during the day and you're a far distance away, the temporary blindness should subside within minutes. However, if it happens at night and you're in close proximity to it, your visibility may be hindered for 30-40 minutes, limiting your movements. So, I understand that it's a secret proposal, but if you witness a sphere descending straight downwards from the heavens, it's advisable to control your inquisitiveness, particularly during a period when we've never been as near to a nuclear conflict. But regardless, if you're outside, you should do one of two options. Either depart from the affected zone as speedily as possible, or seek refuge indoors or in a shelter instantly. If you are able to do so, you should move away quickly and seek assistance, either by getting into a vehicle or running. If you are near an explosion and the mushroom cloud has formed, a simple way to determine whether you are a safe distance away is to hold your arm out straight with one eye closed and try to cover the entire mushroom cloud with your thumb. Make sure you move towards safety in the opposite direction from where the explosion occurred. If you own a car, you can decide to use it, but keep in mind that the roads will be shut and there is a risk you might not be able to proceed due to traffic. If you come across such a hindrance, exit your car at once and try to reach a covered area quickly. Never seek refuge in your vehicle. The flimsy metal of your car won't shield you. Remember these numbers. To be safe from the majority of radiation after an explosion, you should shelter beneath at least 12.5 centimeters of steel, 40 centimeters of brick, or 60 centimeters of earth. If your thumb cannot cover the mushroom cloud, then you are dangerously close to the explosion and likely subjected to a substantial amount of radiation. If you spot dust and ash falling nearby, ensure to cover your mouth and nose with a dense cloth and quickly flee inside. Once indoors, slowly take off all your clothes and put them in a bag without disturbing any gathered dust, then dispose of them outside. Do not retain them inside the house. If running water is available, take a shower without delay, as both your clothing and skin may be covered in radioactive particles even if they're not visible. It's important to take extra care when bathing. Using soapy water, scrub your body well, but avoid breaking the skin, which could allow particles to enter the bloodstream and cause harm. In the event that running water is unavailable, wet a cloth and carefully wipe your body to remove any particles. During a nuclear attack, battery-powered radios are the most reliable way to gather information, since the power and communication systems may fail. It's crucial to equip yourself beforehand with tools like whistles, which should be included in emergency kits. This could potentially cripple a country. In the event of a nuclear blast, you may be trapped beneath rubble. If your building collapses due to damage, it may continue continue to collapse in the future. A single bomb can cause a significant environmental disaster. There are many factors that impact the dynamics discussed here, but it is not feasible to address them all individually. For instance, Turkey does not possess nuclear weapons. However, residing in a country equipped with their own nuclear weapons may discourage enemy attacks involving atomic bombs towards our nation. This is because retaliatory strikes could eliminate the opposition before they launch their bombs, earning us a second attacker advantage in a war of possessions. So, if the country you are attacking possesses nuclear weapons, you will have to eliminate them in the initial strike, which is likely to be challenging. Therefore, despite their intimidating appearance, nuclear bombs also have a deterrent effect on countries considering engaging in nuclear warfare. According to global agreements, using such a bomb must be avoided. However, if it were to occur, civilians must be notified beforehand. With warning, evacuating the city may be optimal, or alternatively, heading to shelters. As stated before, taking refuge at home can mitigate damages by half, yet constructing a shelter just a floor below the surface can reduce the impact of a nuclear assault by around 90%. The deeper the shelter, the less destructive the consequences. The more ready you are for such an attack, the higher your chances of staying safe. On your screen, you can see what items the experts suggest putting in an emergency kit that you can assemble for an attack, but keep in mind that the impact of a bomb like this can last for many years. Depending on the location of the bombing, it could lead to large-scale economic, psychological, and sociological upheaval. Since water and food supplies are contaminated with radiation, it may take a long time for the area to recover. Newborns in the region may experience health issues due to diseases and radiation effects. Many people may suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, and tens of thousands may develop cancer. Addressing these issues alone could cost billions, which would be challenging in an unstable economy. In conclusion, we must address the greatest threat to our world: nuclear bombs. This issue is very serious, and it could have catastrophic consequences for everyone. It's our moral duty to do everything we can to stop the use and production of these dangerous weapons. However, we also have a responsibility to raise awareness on a global scale, not just within our close circles. By teaching ourselves and others about the dangers of nuclear weapons, we can collaborate to ensure they are not used again, and ideally eradicated. Once the arrow has left the bow, or one of these bombs has been dropped from an aircraft, there is no way to undo what has been done. We need to act in unison to avert this irreversible event from ever occurring. Each voice is valuable, every endeavor is significant, and by working together, we can have an impact. Thank you for being a part of this significant discussion. Your involvement and dedication to creating a safer world are essential. Keep an eye out for more talks about global issues that matter. In the meantime, take care, stay informed, and let's cooperate to build a more secure and brighter future for everyone. Goodbye.